On February 8, 1990, in Kaysville, Utah, a group of 4 friends left Davis High School, including sophomore Jennifer Dennis.
We were goofing around, and in the car we just got on a conversation of how kids got high and stuff.
One of Jennifer's girlfriends was also along that day.
The subject of butane was brought up because our friend told us about doing it and we wanted to try it.
The only thing we knew about it is that it could give you a high for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or however long.
Me and Greg went in the store and I showed him what it was because he didn't even know what it was.
Got it.
Greg had an idea that the Scotch Guard could get you high too. I don't know if he'd done it before or if he'd seen it done.
Me and Greg inhaled it all the way to the school. And Greg did a lot more than I did. It just made you laugh. And just everything spun around. Come on, Greg. Come on.
It just seems like no big deal. When we walked in, Greg fell. It just seemed like he was joking around, you know.
I just said, get up, you know, you're making a fool out of yourself. Greg. Greg?
I heard a couple girls kind of running down the hall.
Athletic Director Roger Burley went to see what the problem was.
As we came upon Greg, he was turning blue.
What is it? Oh, I don't know. Turn him over? Come on, let's turn him.
He wasn't breathing. There was no heartbeat.
You go for help. I'll put it
I just started bawling. I was scared for Greg. And I was scared that the same thing was going to happen to me.
A call was placed to 911. Kaysville fire volunteers and police officers, along with sheriff's paramedics, were dispatched to the scene.
Excuse me.
Vice Principal Clyde Jackson arrived within minutes of Greg's collapse.
Has he got any pulse at all?
I tried to find a pulse, and it was just, there was absolutely nothing there. I was scared.
Brett Larkin was one of the first EMTs on the scene.
Can't get an airway.
We could tell from his coloring that he was in very critical condition. It was probably a full arrest.
Can anybody tell me what he took? What happened?
We were trying to find out what had happened, and then started getting pieces that he had apparently had sniffed Scotch Guard and some butane. I had known Greg for a couple of years, and that was a real shock to me and surprised me.
6 minutes after Greg's heart stopped beating, Davis County Sheriff's paramedics, including Scott Larson, arrived on the scene.
Looking at Greg, he looked like the all-American type kid.
What do you got, Randy? I got V-fib. Okay.
It scared me to see such a young person in this type of situation.
Here we go. Clear. Second call. Check pulse. Still no pulse. Still showing V-fib on the monitor. One more. Let's go. 360.
There was no reaction from him after the initial shock.
Clear. Check pulses.
I could hear the paramedics saying that he had no pulse or heartbeat. It was the worst day of my life.
Okay, let's go ahead with the worst.
I couldn't believe it.
Okay.
I couldn't believe it was happening at all.
Okay, got it. Everybody clear?
I thought my friend was dying.
Hold it. No pulses. We got the IV established. We got the IV.
I defibrillated him 3 times, back to back. It wasn't working.
Come on, hustle. Okay.
Nobody wants to fail at this, and we fail so many times.
Okay, stick a V-fib. Clear? Clear? Okay, go.
I'd give anything if I could go back to being 16 years old again. I just remember being real angry that this kid had wasted his life and wasted what he had going for him.
Scott, I think this kid's a...
Randy said, "It's not looking good, Scott." And I says, "We're not going to lose him. This kid is not going to die on me."
Hyperventilating, Randy. In charge of 360. Clear? Clear. I'll check pulse. Hey, I think I got some.
Finally, we started getting the heartbeat. I really felt like this kid's got a chance now.
16-year-old Greg Willis was taken to the Humana Hospital emergency room, where Dr. Clyde Fawcett was on call.
I rubbed on his chest, and he brought his hands up. That implies that there's brain damage going on. Let's get the CAT scanner going. I thought, why the devil would anyone be inhaling Scotchgard and butane? These chemicals displace oxygen in the bloodstream. That's what causes the high. No oxygen gets up to the brain. As the pictures came up, I knew we were in deep trouble. There was so much swelling going on in the brain, and we started having problems trying to get oxygen into his blood due to lung damage. My hopes were going down by the minute. Mrs. Willis? Yes.
Vern and Kathy Willis were waiting for word on their son's condition.
Let me tell you where we are with Greg right now. I explained the situation and said, I have to ask you a very serious question, and that is, if Greg dies, would you allow someone else to benefit by making Greg an organ donor?
Okay. I'm going to get in there.
Oh, I just couldn't believe what he was telling us, because he just kind of gave us no hope at all.
And have them lifeline him down to the university.
What was so hard about this is that we had never had problems with Greg. He'd been a good son. Of the three kids, he was probably the easiest one to raise.
I know it's hard.
Greg was transported by life flight to University Hospital in a deep coma. His chances for survival were slim.
Greg, this is Mom speaking. You've got to start waking up, hon. They were saying, you know, if he came out of it, he might be a vegetable. And I just said, well, I want him back any way, shape, or form. I'll take him. Wake up, baby. We just kind of took turns staying with Greg and talking to him. And at one point, he did open his eyes, and he started to cry. And then he went back to sleep.
We're all here with you. We're not going to let you go.
It was just a very empty feeling.
We'll be here in a few hours.
I didn't know what to say to him.
Grandma and Grandpa, they're all out in the waiting room.
I just held his hand. Told him that I loved him.
Amazingly, within a few days, Greg's lungs began to heal. But it was 17 days before he began to come out of his coma, and the extent of his permanent brain damage was yet to be determined.
Did everything go okay?
He couldn't roll over. He couldn't sit up. He couldn't feed himself.
Hear him? Okay. Here, Greg, talk. Say a word was really tremendously hard for him.
Dad? I thought, well, these people are really good here. They can really fix him up quick.
Hear that, Bert?
I still didn't realize how long it was going to take.
Look over to the left. Ooh, that's hard, huh? There you go, Mom. Okay.
The coordination, you know, just wasn't there, and it was such a struggle for him to do the littlest tiny thing that we always take for granted. Okay, here we come. I went to all his therapy with him and just pressed him. Don't give up. Keep going.
Good job.
He was very frustrated, but he hung through it. At least you're walking a lot better than you were before.
A lot better.
Yeah. Sounds like you...
2 years have passed. Greg Willis has graduated from high school and is 85% back to normal. But he may never fully recover from his injuries.
I can't play basketball like I used to play, and I'll be in therapy probably for my whole life. But I'm not really taking it hard right now. I used to say, geez, at least I'm this far, and maybe I can go farther.
2 years ago, I was involved in an accident that almost cost me my life. And I sniffed butane and Scotchgard.
In an effort to prevent others from making the same mistake, Greg and his mother are telling his story to kids throughout the state.
No one told me that I've done it before.
I wish that I knew and would have told him, quit. It's going to hurt you.
My mouth would start making...
I just didn't know. None of us did.
I wanted to do it, to see what it was like.
I do not know why I did it. Probably just to act real cool, you know, and to impress the girls. I tell them that you could be worse than I am right now, because I was one of the lucky ones.
Oh, you're so funny. You look like a rabbit.
With the crisis, we were a lot stronger family. It just brought us that much closer to each other.
No. What's going on? Huh? Hey. Sometimes if I dwell too long on what happened, what he went through, it gets me emotionally. So I just have to change my train of thought and look at where we're at now and the good things that have happened from it.
I've never seen anyone in as bad a shape as he was that really pulled through and now is functional. That's an act of God, an act of youth, whatever you want to call it, but that's a miracle.
Get down again.
Next.
He was determined to go inside there. We figured as long as we had that rope around him and we were on the other end of it, he'd be all right.